sometimes that small thought is all it takes to lose control.
Welcome to Kris's quarterly rant about how jealous he is that a child from established director gets to have their own career in cinema. Because we're talking movies, we're talking Possessor, starring Andrea Riseborough, Christopher Abbott, and Jennifer Jason Leigh, written and directed by Brandon Cronenberg. So, Kris, what's the narrative?
Pull me out.
It's not the first time you said that, have you?
That's what she said.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of How'd You Like That Movie? Tonight, we're talking about the 2020 film Possessor, the uber-violent sci-fi horror flick directed by none other than David Cronenberg's son, Brandon. So, Scott, again, you're a resident expert on horror and stuff, so why don't you take us away?
Okay. First, I have no idea how you consider this a horror movie. It's not even body horror. But
ooh, what? Sorry, yeah. What? Can you flesh that out? Because I'm not a horror. What's a body horror film?
So, pretty much what
is that like when you get someone naked and you're like, God, that's fucking horrible, that body?
No, that's your weekends. But
oh, that's every day when I take my shirt off.
But no, body horror is kind of what David Cronenberg set his career on. That's what made him established with Videodrone. It's more like The Fly. It's just grotesque things done to a body.
Okay.
During the movie, like this.
Would Saw be that, or is that more like
no? That's torture porn. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, this I thought it was more a drama than anything.
Okay. All right, that'll be interesting. I'll definitely be getting you to flesh that out. So it's not a horror. Is it sci-fi and is it violent?
Well, which version did you watch?
I watched the uncut version, just like
me. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I watched the uncut version, and the only thing I could get out of that, because I don't know what the original concept is, but I'm assuming the uncut version just included a lot more sex scenes.
Probably sex and violence, the two best things.
But, yeah, like in terms of this concept, I've seen it before. I've seen it with Canadian talent done before, and I will say that I did enjoy the other ones more. Like you had
titles?
the 2016 movie Criminal, with Vancouver's own Ryan Reynolds. Then you had the 2015 movie Selfless with Ben Kingsley and Canada's own Ryan Reynolds. So what I'm pretty much
so basically basically they should have just got Ryan Reynolds for this role.
That's basically what, because he's done it. He does it every couple of years. Like, he could have done this in his sleep. But
the most Canadian thing is Ryan Reynolds eating poutine while showering in maple syrup,
pretending to be somebody else. But yeah, like for me, I wasn't intrigued. Like I give him props for what was done. It was a beautifully done movie.
You're talking like the cinematics?
The cinematics, everything. I just think in terms of what was written, I just think the whole climax, like this movie just dragged on, and then it was like literally 30 minutes left, and then all of a sudden there's your conflict there, and it kind of gets wrapped up in the last 30 minutes.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah. No, I mean, I always talk about pacing. So I 100% agree with you. The cinematics in this are beautiful. It's got unbelievable shot choices. I mean, if you're into cinematography, watch this film for sure. the DOP on this, Karim Hussain, there's going to be tons of Canadian talent in this. Like I said, this is dripping with maple syrup like Ryan Reynolds. Karim Hussain is a Canadian DOP. He did Antiviral, which is also Brandon Cronenberg's film. He did Hobo with a Shotgun, which, if you've watched Grindhouse, you know that it was a faux trailer from the Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino double feature Grindhouse. He was the DOP on Hyena Rose, which is the Canadians in Afghanistan film done by Paul Gross. And he also he was the DOP on Random Act of Violence. So he's very good with both violence and stylized cinematography. And just for that alone, I would put in the hour and 40 minutes. I think the original cut's about 90. So I agree with you. They probably just added some more boobies. Oh, and penis. There's penis in this for those out there that prefer the penis to the vagina. There's definitely some penis shots in this. So so it is definitely beautifully shot. But yeah, so I don't have the same background in these kinds of films that you do. So I was kind of coming at this with totally fresh eyes, and I like the idea. I like the idea of an assassin that's kind of implanted. I think that's a great great plot that you can develop off of. You can go lots of directions. It did so first off, I felt like it took a bit to get there. And then there was all this fucking really, really intimate violence that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And you're like, yeah, you're super jazzed up. And then it kind of slows down again. But, and I don't want to spoil the ending because this is a 2020 film. But did you like that ending? The last scene in the house.
I saw it coming.
Even with the kids and the
yeah.
I'm trying to
the minute when you get to 5 minutes before that scene where they're having the interaction in the alleyway with the kid.
Yeah.
You can tell the kid was off center there. So you already knew where it was coming.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that, man.
You knew where it was because the kid's interacting and saying the words kind of he is familiar with that person, right? Because you can tell it's in there, that the kid has been implanted. And then I saw it coming a while away. But in terms of have you seen his short please, it's fucking super long, please speak continuously? And
no. Did you watch it or
that? I will recommend that because it's fucking amazing short.
Where'd you see it? Did you just YouTube it?
I saw it on Crave. No, it was on Crave under TIFF selections.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
So I saw it under that. And it is amazing. And I can see kind of where it's the germ of this movie kind of spread, but they got to experience it, expand it more, I think, and give it more detail. But if he was to do what that short was into a film, I think one, it would be rewatchable. It would be, what's the best way to describe it? To me, that short was last year's Sixth Sense, in which you watch it from beginning to end, and then once you get to the end, you have to rewatch it again to see if you can pick up on the clues.
Really?
It blew my mind. And
so you highly recommend this short film?
Yeah, it's a super long title.
But it's
please speak something.
We'll throw it in our show notes. So when you're listening to this podcast, just scroll down to the bottom and check out the short film by Brandon Cronenberg. Okay, go ahead. No, go ahead. Keep going. Man.
Like I was saying, the kind of things that kind of not turn me off, but didn't get me engaged was, especially with this uncut version, is where you could have added a lot of subtext, a lot of backplot.
Okay, instead of just making it longer.
Yeah, it literally just looked to me, again, and I don't know what the original was because this is my first time watching it. It just literally seemed hey, we're just gonna add these 3 extra sex scenes and these 3 ladies naked, right?
It's interesting when something that is uncut, but then it's actually more added.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but it's yeah, like to me, like
that was a penis joke, by the way. That was a
I
penis
know,
joke.
I
That was
know,
a
I
penis
know,
joke.
but yeah, like the whole subplot about that kind of gets thrown in when the friend's like, "Hey, I talked to her and she's super cool with us, like just being friends."
You're like,
And
oh,
then
but
she's like, "Yeah, like okay, what's kind of going on?" Um, and then shooting around the back, and then you come to her apartment, like after all the shit goes down, and then it's just like, okay, I gotta go. And then you seem like it looks like it's been a day or two away, but then it's just it's only like an hour, or even that, because she's still in the shower, and
yeah,
then that shit happens, and you're like, what the fuck, right? Like, I don't understand what the whole subtext of that scene added to the film.
yeah. Well, and like you said, we don't know what was added and what was taken away, but yeah, it did feel a bit long. And if it was just for like boobies and violence, then you need to like cut some other shit out to pick up the pace. I mean, we're talking about the son of David Cronenberg, famous Canadian director. Are you a Cronenberg guy? Like, do you like Cronenberg's work, or?
I do like his work, and I do think, actually, I think it was like Viggo Mortensen that made the comment last year or this year, how it is super weird that Cronenberg has yet to win an Oscar for
Yes.
directing, right? And even like I looked back because I'm like, there's no way he hasn't, right? Like,
But he is
but
not.
yeah, like he is not. Like you would think Eastern Promises,
Yep.
you would think The Fly,
Yep.
right?
Have you
You
seen
would
Dead
think.
Ringers? I think we talked about it on like when we were talking about David Lynch or whatever.
No, I haven't watched that
It's
one
Jeremy
yet.
Irons, and he plays like two brothers
Two
that are like
versions of himself.
gynecologists, and like so he plays opposite himself. It is it's in typical early Cronenberg kind of feel too, where it's like it really makes you feel uncomfortable to watch this movie. You know what I mean? And Cronenberg's great with that, right?
Like, have you watched Videodrome?
I have not.
Oh, like that. If you think that's super weird, just imagine being like, I think Videodrome is like key to make a remake now, because the whole point of it is like a TV exec that's played by James Woods, and think of it kind of like Ring vibes, but way before the Ring. That they're looking for new content, and then he finds pretty much what's like a snuff film that's constantly being produced, and then he like goes on a search for it, and then he ends up with like a vagina in his stomach, and then once he puts his hand in there, comes out, then his hand turns into a gun that's like a penis gun that kind of shoots like, and that's what I mean by body horror, right? Because it's all like in there, it's all intimate. Like the closest this film had was to me, the Sean Bean and the interaction with the faces was the closest to body horror that was done.
Yeah.
But that, like, with what David Cronenberg did, like, it's not silhouetted in which you kind of see it, kind of don't. Like Cronenberg's like full on, you see everything like fucking getting ripped apart.
Speaking of like, I mean, yeah, like so the faces, the melting and stuff like that. I mean, that to me goes more to the cinematics. But the scene with Sean Bean, and again, I don't want to talk about it too much. That was like some of the violence in this film was so intimate and personal, like knives, clubs, just like fire pokers or whatever. Like I had to turn away, like I couldn't watch it, like it was so visceral. Word of the day calendar, visceral. How did you find it? Like, did you just kind of, was it like Snorefest for you? You're like, man, I've seen more violent, man.
No, I like. Well, I don't really get turned on by violence either. But like they did well. I think the effects.
This show isn't actually about your fetishes. You know that, right? Like,
it's about yours.
Podcast.
It's 100% about your fetishes, right? I just couldn't figure out if the reason why you picked this movie was because you really wanted to know what it felt like in a female body getting fucked, right? Because he figured they'd have that like in it a little bit more, where technically like the assassin felt it on both ends.
Sure. Who doesn't want to feel it on both ends, right?
You know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I do. Okay, so Rotten Tomatoes has this as 94% from the critics. I can see that. It's got a 59 with the audience. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah.
Like this is going to be it's a bit art house.
Yeah, I do think this would go over. Yeah, it's a niche. This is 100% a niche film, in which a lot of people won't get it either, right? Like imbeciles like myself, you know, I'm not a cinephile like you. Like this to me is like, okay, like I said, I've seen it twice before within the last 6 years, and it was way more actiony. That kind of
so what you're saying is if you're not going to appreciate like those, you know, blocked out shots that are backlit and stuff like that, you're going to be like boring.
Yeah, like when you have that one, like an example, the one scene at the beginning when the one person that's possessed, I guess that's what you would call it, is going through the restaurant, and then, you know, she sees the water going backwards up.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Right? Yeah, it was an amazing scene. It was beautiful to look at. But I literally hit my phone or hit my remote at the time. I'm like, how much more fucking minutes do I have in this movie? And I'm like, oh fuck, I'm only 12 minutes in.
And like you could see like they're doing stuff where they like all the wardrobe's the same when the dude goes to work at the job, right? And so you get that like dystopian kind of minimalistic view. Like the care and attention that was put on the cinematics is obviously there. But again, I really want to talk about when you got to the violence. How did you find that violence? Like, was it not shocking to you, or
no?
And by shocking, I don't mean
I
like
think
not.
I think I'm desensitized to it, right? Like it wasn't shocking to me. Like I've seen it. We have seen it before. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the effects were amazingly done. And I think what not turned me off, but kind of bored me is the fact that he kept on it way too long. Like you could tell like once he's stabbing, it's like 10 stabs more than you really needed just to be like, oh, she's getting off on this kind of thing. Right?
Yes, that's the point, man. That's part of the narrative, right?
Yeah, but I'm like, this is literally 10 stabbings more than you needed. You could have just put a smile on her face when she did it. That would have been fine, right? It's just, yeah, like that, but it didn't make me off-putting. Like I wasn't off-put by it or anything. But yeah, like even the Sean Bean one with the fire poker, I'm just like, okay.
That was vicious, man. That was fucking vicious. I'm telling you.
Yeah, the only one
I would say that I was like, watch that fucking scene, man.
Yeah, it was when they went like the one that kind of made me like twitch a little bit was, you know, the close up, then the twist and the teeth.
Yes.
That was the only one I was like, ooh. But even still, but speaking of Sean Bean, like he survived this. He survived this film. So this is a movie that he did not die. I thought that was in his contract. He had to die in every fucking movie he was in.
That's so true. I mean, I looked up his filmography. It's super, super long, but I mean, Patriot Games, dead. GoldenEye, dead. He doesn't die in Ronin. He gets fired in Ronin. He's playing the ex-SAS guy, but he's fake. He's lying, right? And they're like, okay, yo, like you set up this gun trap and there's a crossfire. And that's when De Niro's like, what color was the boathouse at Hereford, which is where the SAS trains? And he's like, and then after it's like, well, what color was the boathouse? He's like, I don't know. I was bluffing him. Boom, De Niro, yay. So he doesn't die in Ronin. He does die in Lord of the Rings. Yes. And does he die in Equilibrium? Yes, he does die in Equilibrium.
Yeah.
Equilibrium is great, man. With Christian Bale. If you haven't seen Equilibrium, yeah, it's fucking.
He's the one that.
He's the first one.
Yeah, he's the one that the mentor. Yeah. So he dies.
I really think of Equilibrium as like, you know, kind of like the Matrix, like stripped down, like and I just mean like the gun kata and the way they move and they avoid stuff. Like it's a great like dystopian film. Yeah, man.
I always attach it to a mixture of Roddenberry's Fahrenheit 9/11 with 9/11 is fucking
Fahrenheit 451. Fahrenheit 451.
I was gonna say 9/11 is the Michael Moore film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Fahrenheit 451 mixed in with 1984.
no, that's I get you that's the setting, but I'm just talking about like the Matrix, the way they use like movement around bullets and stuff like that. I'm just talking about like the
Yeah,
shooting
okay,
style.
I get it. Yeah.
100%.
Mine's
You're
way
talking
better.
like Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. Yeah, and I mean, our producer's saying like, hey, don't forget he died. He for sure died in Game of Thrones. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones yet, he doesn't get through the first season. Sorry, spoiler. And he's
Do you know
what?
I'll tell you this little tidbit about Game of Thrones. If he didn't die, I also wouldn't have made it past the first season, because that's what turned my attention. Because
all of a sudden you're like, damn. And I mean,
yeah, because the first little bit, I'm just like, oh my god, because it was all the world building. I'm like, this is so fucking boring, right? Like, I don't need to see boobies. Yeah, it's like boobies, blowjobs, and a lot of exposition. Boobies, blowjob, expedition, and then all of a sudden decap. I'm like, holy shit!
You're like,
and then I'm like, I'm in it for now.
This shit's fucking for real. And I mean, one of the criticisms of the like last season or even the later seasons of Game of Thrones is people seem to feel like they moved away, because the first bit, it didn't matter how big of an actor you were, wasn't how big your character was, you could get fucked, royally fucked. I mean, one of the things is like Jennifer Jason Leigh's in this, and she's good at playing like the indie fucking offbeat person. I mean, let's be honest, she's in The Hateful Eight, which she does an amazing job as Domadou or Domagoop or whatever. I can't pronounce her name, the character name. She also narrated the audio version of the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novel that I listened to. So that was fantastic. I kind of wish she had a little more screen time. You know what I mean? I like her. I think she's a great actor. She's been good since I saw her in Rush, I think is the first film, the Rush 1991, not the Formula One film that we're going to be doing next month. She always plays kind of that like gritty, noir kind of character, and she's fantastic at it. Go ahead.
I thought this was going to be like a whole fucking rant about, a child of a director and stuff. I thought you were gonna be like, and she was in his daddy's film Existence with Jude Law. That's probably how she got him.
You stopped me. Yes, she was in Existence, which was done by his daddy. Okay, I don't know if you've got this factoid. So how you like to bring up, I mean, it's a super important piece of cinema history. The helicopter crash on Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Do you know whose dad died in that?
Was it her dad?
Jennifer Jason Leigh's dad. She sued them. She sued the director and everything. Her dad and a bunch of child actors were the ones killed in that motherfucker. Imagine that. Jesus. Like, not only did your dad get killed, but he gets killed in this like very like trivia public way on a fucking film set. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So I just thought you'd find that interesting because
I didn't know that.
Right? Yeah.
I did not.
I mean, this it's a Canadian film. It was produced by Telefilm, which is basically like a crown corporation here in Canada. It's filmed in Toronto. He's from Toronto. Guys are from Vancouver and stuff like that. Do you think that Brandon will, live up to, like, from what you're seeing? Is he going to live up to his dad's name?
Okay. We've had this argument.
Oh shit, I thought you were almost going to like take your glasses off, like you're ready to throw down here.
No, like we've had this argument before. But I'll say this. Whether it's him, whether it's another, whatever fucking person you're going to, like, child of a thing. They don't have to, they don't have to do what you're saying. They don't have to meet what their parents did.
Fair enough. Right? That's not what I asked.
They have to make their own path.
You're such a good dad.
Their own filmography, right? I know you're saying, I don't even remember the word. Like, I know pretty soon you're going to be like, hey, listen, this guy probably only got these movies because of his dad. But if you look at his filmography, he started in the back end doing shit work, grunt work back in 2008, and didn't start directing and writing until the last 9 years.
Whoa. This is like when people are like, yeah, but like some famous actors like, yeah, but I was like a PA and da. It's like, sorry, what's your last name? And where did you live? And like, how the fuck are you already getting Sean Bean and Jennifer's Jason Lee on your fucking film in the first place? You know what I mean?
But
come
this
on,
isn't
you
his,
got it. You
this
can't
isn't
pretend
his,
like it doesn't matter.
This isn't his first film though. This isn't like, oh, and fuck, look at fucking the guy we were fucking bitching about, Power, the fucking pill one, Project Power.
Yeah.
That was their both people's first films, and that was Jamie Foxx. That was Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Touche.
There's a thing, Kris. I know I am naive in the film industry. You know, this is your industry, but there's a thing called financing, and usually these financiers and producers
I understand the
like,
money. Trust me, I understand
are like,
the fucking
hey,
money and the not
Jennifer
having it
Jason
part.
Lee, would you like to work a week in this Canadian film for $100,000? Okay. Hey, Sean Bean, do you want to be in this film for a week or probably 2 days of shooting for $200,000? And guess what? We're gonna beat the shit out of you, but you're still gonna live, motherfucker. And he's gonna be like, you got me there.
All right. I surrender. On that topic, actually, on the topic of money, could you find the budget? I could not find the budget. I found out that it made $900,000 in the theater. I mean, I'm assuming COVID. It's 2020, right? So COVID fucked a lot of that stuff up. But I couldn't find the budget. I could not find how much they actually spent to build it. But
I can check right now. I didn't really look either.
There's actually another piece of Canadian acting royalty in this film, and that's Rossif Sutherland, who plays Michael Voss, plays the husband. That last name, Sutherland, does that ring a bell? Maybe Donald Sutherland being his daddy, and his half brother being Kiefer Sutherland. Absolutely, man. Born in BC, 2 Canadian Screen Award nominations. He's basically most of a TV actor, some ER. He's on a show called King, or he was on a show called King, and he was also in another show called Rain. But yeah, he's son of Donald Sutherland and the brother of Kiefer Sutherland.
Okay, I don't know how he.
Well,
You think it's Canadian royalty?
Donald Sutherland? Are you fucking joking me?
Well,
and
fuck,
Kiefer?
even Kiefer.
Those are big
Lost
deals,
Boys.
man. Especially because you
That
love
is.
the Lost Boys. Like, that's your like jack
Who
off
doesn't?
movie.
Who doesn't love the fucking Lost Boys though?
I was actually just reading some trivia that for the Lost Boys, Kiefer.
So was
Sutherland,
I.
He had like the long hair.
I saved it on my Facebook.
And he basically
ever fucking do it.
Shaved his head to have like a Billy Idol haircut, and it became that quintessential look of like the '80s rock and roll vampire. You know what I mean, or punk rock vampire.
Yes, I think I got the same thing. Because I saved it. I'm like, just in case. I'm like, Halloween's coming around, so
is that so you can dress up as him?
Yes.
So I mean, I like this film cinematically. I'll actually probably watch it again just for the cinematics of it. The violence, fucking off the hook. Definitely watch for the violence. I would recommend this actually to people who like sci-fi, but like sci-fi film. If you're looking for like a super paced like action sci-fi film, it's not really gonna fly. Like, I don't know, Star Trekky Wars, or what is the difference between those two things anyways? Star Wars and Star Trek.
A lightsaber.
I'm actually surprised that Twitter didn't execute us on that. So if you want to hit us up on Twitter,
what's this week?
Me. I know. I do that all the time.
I know. People start thinking
when I do good, it's me, and when we do bad, I did it again. When I do bad, it's a we. So yeah, I mean, I even told our producer, he's kind of a nerd file. I was like, yo, check this fucking movie out. You're gonna love it. It's on Crave if you're here in Canada, so you won't have to pay for it. What about you? You got any suggestions? Who would you throw this film to, or would you?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, again, I think cinematics are well done and you can watch it. I think this is the kind of film that is gonna be a cult film
100%.
in the next little, like, probably it's gonna be the same as, oh my god, if you want to compare father to son, it's probably gonna be in the same vein of like Rabid for Cronenberg, where they recently remade it a couple of years ago. But it'll be one of those things, and I can see even a streaming service kind of picking up on this and making it
making
into
a series.
Yeah, I can see that when
I mean,
CBC Gem, because it ain't gonna be
CBC
Netflix.
Gem. Why are you not doing this already? We got CBC. If you're fucking listening, we have thrown out some very, very good ideas on this show for free because we're Canadian. We like to share the wealth. I'm in, and we want to bring everybody up. Call us on the fucking phone. We'll make you some money. You give us some money too.
CBC's got fucking taxpayer funded. We're gonna make you some money. We just want our money back that we're paying.
I'm gonna finish on a quote because it actually ties this film in and the whole conversation about nepotism. So I got Kris Hewitt from Empire Magazine. And Kris has this to say. Kris has this to say. Cronenberg by name, Cronenberg by nature. Not because I hate ya.
And that is our rant for the day. Please like and subscribe to this podcast. You can also reach us and interact with us on social media at howdoyoulikethat1 or email us at howdoyoulikethatmovie@gmail.com.
Not because I hate ya.
We're gonna need to cut that out, like literally, just fucking cut that out.
It's naughty by nature, baby. It's OPP.
that was so bad, literally so bad. But did you know this film was a
Hold on.
Saturn
Are we in
Award?
our break now? Are we into our post?
What? Sure.
Well, because you just went silent, man. You went silent like you normally do before we go to our outro. So yeah, you keep doing your thing, man.
It was literally because like
you were shocked by my naughty by nature quotes.
Shocked. It was more embarrassed. It was more like, fuck, if you can get my name off this episode.
Production by Rod Shaver, Vader Monkey Productions.